Hello everyone, I'm Chris from Fastlane Academy, and if you're thinking about selling on Amazon, there's 3 mistakes that both new and even experienced sellers make that will absolutely destroy your business before it ever gets off the ground. And a lot of the Amazon gurus and experts don't want you to know about these. Now, I've been selling on Amazon for about 6 years now. I'm currently doing over $100,000 a month in sales, as you can see in these screenshots of my last 90 days on Amazon, but it didn't come easy like a lot of the Amazon gurus and experts want you to believe. Now, if you're completely unfamiliar with the Amazon selling model, there's a couple of different ways that you can get started, but the most profitable method that's typically taught, and it's also the one that I use, is that you go and find products that are selling well on Amazon. You source them from China, you brand them with your own private label brand name, and then you sell them on Amazon using FBA. Now, you can also sell branded products, other brands like say Tide or Nike, but there's a lot of pitfalls to that and it's not as profitable. And the biggest drawback that you have to selling other brands is that you're going to be competing with a lot of other sellers. And if you have your own private label brand name, you don't have any competition at all. So let's jump over to Amazon and I'll show you an example of what both of those selling models look like. Okay, so here we are on Amazon, and right now I'm looking at the best sellers list in the sports and outdoors category. Now there's a lot of categories that you can sell in, but we're just going to use this one as an example. Now let me give you a disclaimer. This is not the method that you want to use to pick products. This is actually a method that a lot of the outdated courses and YouTube videos teach this, because a few years ago you could make a lot of money picking products this way, but Amazon is much more competitive now, and you're going to get absolutely crushed if you try to compete with most of these products. And you can see that as you go down. A lot of these have, 3,800 reviews, 4,500 reviews, 9,000. I mean, it's going to be almost impossible to compete with these guys. But anyway, I'm just going to use this as an example so you just get the general concept of how the private label model works. Now later, I'm going to show you the right way to find products, but here's the general idea of kind of how this works. So let's say you were looking for a product to sell in the sports and outdoors category, and you're looking through all the items and you came across this one right here that kind of piqued your interest. So you can see from the bestseller ranking or the BSR right here that Amazon assigns every product based on their popularity or sales volume, that they're actually selling really well. And we'll cover BSR a little more in depth later when I show you a much better way to do this. But just for example's sake, you would then use a sourcing website, and I'll also go into more detail on that later. And what you do is you would look this over, and then you'd use that sourcing website and you'd find out how much this item would cost you to source and then ship to Amazon to sell. Then you would need to look up the fees on what Amazon charges to sell and ship your products to your customer, which also I'm going to cover in more detail later. But then you would do the math, and then you would determine if this is a viable opportunity for you to go after. So let's just say, for example's sake, that your total cost after everything was around $9. Then obviously this is selling for $13, so you'd make about $4 per sale. And then after that, what you do is you would use a free tool that, once again, I'll show you in depth a little later. I just want you to get the general concept for now. But this free tool will calculate the estimated monthly sales volume of this product based on that BSR number. And so let's just say that this product was selling around 1,000 units per month. Then you'd know that your potential net profits from this would be around $4,000 per month, because you got a $4 margin and they're selling around 1,000 per month. So that's pretty much how the private label concept works. So let me show you the other way to sell on Amazon, which is selling like major brand name products. Now this is often referred to as retail arbitrage. You might have heard that term. And here's how that works. So what you do is you essentially drive around town to stores like say TJ Maxx, Marshalls, or maybe even like some major retail stores, and you go through their clearance racks. And let's just say that when you're going through the clearance racks, you find these Nike socks. And let's just say that they're on clearance for $20. Then what you do is you'd use your smartphone and you'd look up the item to see what it's selling for on Amazon. In this case, it's $35. And then pretty much the same as the other model, you would figure out what your fees are going to be, and then you would determine what you're going to be left over with, profit wise after it's all said and done. And then if so, if you see there's a profit in it, then you either buy, the one that they have or all of them if they have more than one, and then you send them into Amazon to sell. Now, I don't recommend this method because there's a lot of pitfalls that are involved with it. The first one is that it's not near as profitable as private labeling your own products. And second, Amazon's starting to restrict or gate a lot of these major brands because they're having a real issue of counterfeit products from China. It's become a big problem for them over the last few years. So what you can easily find is that you buy up a bunch of these products in the stores because you think you're going to sell them for a decent profit. Then you go and you try to list them on Amazon and they don't allow you to do it because they're restricted or gated. And now you find yourself stuck with a bunch of inventory that a lot of stores won't let you return because they're clearance items. And even if they do, now you're driving all around town again. And then the third problem with this model is that you're often going to be competing with 10, maybe 20 other sellers for the buy box, which this is the buy box here. And, often when that happens, and you're competing with that many people, then the person that gets the buy box is determined by the price. So, say you were at the store looking at this item and you checked it on Amazon and might have been selling for, say, $40, but then you go to list it a couple of days later and the price is now down to $20 and you have to sell it at a loss. And actually, there's a perfect example here. I actually, started making this video and looked at this product about a couple of days ago, and I was looking at the large size and it was $39.95. So if you were in the store at that time and you bought it for $20 and thinking, you were going to turn around and make a nice margin, 2 days later, the buy box price is down to $20. So now you'd have to sell it at a loss. So that's a major problem with that model. And then finally, one of the biggest problems is it's just not scalable. I mean, you're going to waste hours of your time and your gas. You're going to drive all over town looking for these clearance products. And so you're always at the mercy of whatever's available at the stores, if anything's available. So what happens is you lose a lot of money and time, gas, wear and tear on your vehicle, and that eats into the profits, what little you might make. So that's why I don't recommend this product or this method of selling products. It was really popular a few years ago before Amazon started restricting and gating a lot of these major brands, but this model is pretty much dying out now, especially since the private label model is so much easier. It's a lot more profitable and more reliable. So just know that private label is definitely the route that you want to go.
Selling private label products on Amazon is a great business model, but there's a lot of landmines out there that can absolutely crush you if you just jump in blind or if you follow bad advice. So let's dive right in and cover what you need to watch out for. And if you stay all the way to the end, I'm going to show you the right way to find products to sell on Amazon that helped me build my business to 7 figures, and we're going to do it live, so the pressure's on. So let's start with mistake number 1, not getting the proper training. Here's the facts, guys. 90% of all new Amazon sellers will fail, and here's why. A lot of people just jump right into selling on Amazon because they hear the stories and they see the screenshots about people making a lot of money doing this, which you definitely can, but here's where they go wrong. They follow outdated techniques that are being taught on YouTube or some website somewhere because they don't want to invest in a training course. And often these techniques, they either don't work or they're black hat techniques, which can actually get you banned from ever selling on Amazon again because they break their terms of service. Now, I've even heard people teach that you don't need a training course because you can learn everything you need from YouTube, which is crazy. Nothing could be farther from the truth. I see so much bad advice online about selling on Amazon. Now, a lot of times it's just from well-meaning people who might have had some moderate success back in the gold rush days that I was telling you about earlier, when it was really easy and it wasn't as competitive, but it's a lot more competitive and it's not that easy anymore unless you have inside information, which I'm going to give you later in this video. Amazon constantly updates their system and their algorithm, so there's a good chance that whatever was working even 6 months ago on Amazon is not working anymore. And if you follow those outdated techniques that are taught on YouTube or somewhere else, you're going to spend a lot of time and money, and there's a good chance you're not going to get any results, or you might even get banned from Amazon for breaking their terms of service. So let's jump over to Amazon right now. What I want to show you is an example of what would happen to you if you followed the
advice and training of the #1 YouTube video on how to sell on Amazon. Okay, so we're back on Amazon, and I'm going to use the example of a yoga mat because the most popular video on YouTube for how to sell on Amazon talks about selling this exact same product. And it's also one of those products that you would probably find in the bestsellers list on Amazon that I told you earlier was not a method that you want to use. But I just want you to see how dangerous that it is to follow outdated trainings and YouTube videos. Now, I also don't want to throw this person under the bus because it is not their fault. When they created this video a few years ago, Amazon wasn't nearly as competitive as it is now. And you could still source and sell this product, and you could do really well. A lot of people made a lot of money with this, with these yoga mats, but now you would absolutely get crushed if you try to sell this. And here's why. If we go here to Amazon and we search for yoga mats, here are the top results. Now, whenever you are selling on Amazon any product and you want to do well, obviously you have to be ranked somewhere on this first page, and you preferably want to be in these top 10. Now whenever you're looking at these, you want to ignore the sponsored ads over here, the ones that say sponsored, and you want to start here with the organic ranked results. Now as we look at these products, notice how many reviews that they have. I mean, this is crazy. 2,700, 11,000, even 469, but 1,800, 5,000. I mean, that is just crazy competitive. It takes years to get that many reviews legitimately, and you don't want to wait years for results. It's there's some black hat tactics out there that you can use to get reviews really quick, but you don't want to do that because you will get banned by Amazon really quick if they catch you, which they are really good at. So you don't want to do that. But also notice when you, as we go through these listings, that they all have multiple colors. And I won't click on everyone, but just trust me, all of these have multiple colors, and you won't do well if you just pick one color and go for it. So if you decide to sell this product, now your inventory costs just went up 5 to 10 times what you thought they were going to be. But let's say you were still up for the challenge, so you still want to source and sell these yoga mats. So the first thing that we want to do is find out what our product cost is going to be, and for that we're going to use Alibaba.com. And most sellers use Alibaba to source products, and that's a really good place to start, but you'll usually end up paying a little bit more than you should. But sourcing for the best price, that's a whole different training, and that is something that we will cover later. But just know for now that Alibaba is a good resource to get estimated pricing. So I went ahead, and to save time a little bit, I went over to Alibaba and did a search for yoga mats. And as you scroll through this page, we also won't get into how to evaluate suppliers and pricing and all that, but just know that the average price for a yoga mat was around $3. And one thing you do want to do as you're going through these is you don't want to look at the low end price, because that usually is very difficult to get, if you can even get the low end price. It's kind of like clickbait for them. It's usually you got to buy 5, 10,000, some crazy amount. So you want to kind of look at the high end price. And like I said, I went through all these, and $3 is about the best that it gets for a comparable yoga mat. So now that we know that our average cost is going to be $3, let's go back to Amazon. So if we go back to these yoga mat listings here, what we need to know next is what we can reasonably expect to sell these yoga mats for. So let's take a look at the average price for the top like 5, 7 products. And what you don't want to do, you want to click on each listing. You don't want to look at these ranges, because a lot of times they're not accurate. As you can see here, this says up to $32, but if you click on this listing, they're all 16. So you want to make sure that you actually click on the listing and look. So as we go through here, there's one that is 16, and then same here. These are also, I believe, 16. And, I won't go through all of them. But one thing you want to look out for when you are doing this is you want to watch out for anomalies like this product right here. Now, this range is actually pretty close. They're actually at $27. But when you see something like this that's priced way higher than everybody else, and it's ranked high in the search results, like these guys are, they're number 3 organically. That means that something fishy is going on behind the scenes, because product pricing is a huge factor for ranking in these top results. And I can tell you from experience that no product like this that's pretty much the same as the rest of them, but it's priced 60% higher than everybody else, is going to rank ahead of all these guys naturally, because there's several down here that are also way less than these guys, and that's just not normal. Now what they could be doing is they could be spending tens of thousands of dollars on outside traffic from places like Facebook, Google, or other platforms like that. Or they could be using those black hat techniques I was telling you about just a few minutes ago that will get you banned if Amazon catches you. Or they could even possibly be doing both. But either way, when you see these anomalies like this, you really want to toss them out of consideration when you're trying to get like the average selling price, because you obviously don't want to do either of these techniques. So, we have these at 13, these at 16. These guys here are, let's see, around 18 to 19. And so the average, and I won't go through every one of them, but just know that the average here is between $16 and $20. These guys right here are the most expensive at around $20. So let's go ahead and run with that real quick. We'll go ahead, $20 is probably a best case scenario here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to run an extension called Helium 10. Now, if you haven't heard of that, you can go to Helium 10 and you can sign up for a free account, and then you can download their Chrome extension, and all of that is free, and you can actually, have access to what I'm about to show you, which is really cool. So I'm going to launch that now, and then I'm going to go here to profitability calculator. Okay, and what they do is they take the dimensions and the weight, and they run it through their database of that analyzes and estimates what the freight is going to be, and they calculate all that in here. So they put the price in, the selling price, and then they put in the estimated manufacturing cost. This is the only thing that you have to adjust yourself. So we know that cost was $3, so I'm going to put $3 in here. Okay, and then this is the estimated freight from China, and then after FBA fees and everything else, the net profit is 67 cents, which is crazy. That's basically no money whatsoever. So, your best case scenario here is going to be 67 cents. And if you, like I said, that's a best case. For the rest of these guys who are around 16 and 18 dollars, then obviously you are going to be losing money. We'll run that just to show you an example. So if you were at $16, which is where the majority of these people are, and you put in your cost of $3, you're actually losing $4 a unit. So here's the thing, if you were to get into this, your best case scenario is making 67 cents per unit. That's if everything goes off perfectly from order production to landing in Amazon, and that's highly unlikely because there's a lot of factors that can cause your product to go, the cost of it to go up anywhere from 25 cents to even $1 per unit. There's a lot of little things that can happen along the way. So you need to have some margin in there. And the more likely scenario is that you're going to be losing money on every single sale. Now, this product would absolutely sink your Amazon business before you even got started, all because you followed an outdated YouTube video or training course. And that's why you just have to be so careful where you get your training from if you're going to do this business.
Here's the deal, guys. You wouldn't start any other legitimate business without some sort of foundational training and education, and your Amazon business should be no different. In order to succeed in this business, you're going to need 3 things. You're going to need a lot of critical step-by-step hand-holding to get up and running, because there's a lot of steps involved to getting your account set up properly, sourcing products, getting them ranked and selling well, and a lot more. You need access to information that shows each of those steps and is constantly updated, so you know what's working in Amazon right now, not what was working 6 months, a year, even 2 or 3 years ago. And you need advanced techniques that give you an unfair advantage over your competitors. For those 3 things,
you're going to need to invest in a thorough and up-to-date training course, because if you don't, you're going to be at a serious competitive disadvantage. And my honest advice to you is this: if you can't invest in a good training, then just don't do this business, because I've seen too many people lose a lot of money, and some people even their life savings because of this. So enough about that. Let's move on to number 2. Not having enough capital. Now, despite what anyone else teaches you, if you want to make enough money in this business to really make it worth your while, you're going to need at least $3,000 to $5,000 to start. Now, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, and there's a lot of Amazon gurus and experts that'll tell you that you only need $300 to $500 to start, but that is just not realistic. Now, I'm going to break down those numbers in just a minute, and I'm going to show you exactly why. But if you don't have access to that kind of capital, but you still want to make money online, then affiliate marketing is going to be your best bet. Now, if you're not sure what affiliate marketing is, that's where you promote someone else's product and they pay you a commission for each sale. Now, it's another really great business model, and you can make a lot of money doing it. There's a lot of affiliate marketers that make more than I do selling on Amazon, and it requires a much smaller investment. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link below to a free training on affiliate marketing. It's from one of the best affiliate marketers out there. He's been around for years, and he'll teach you everything you need to know. So if that's the route you want to go, be sure to check that out and learn how to do it the right way. So now let's break down those numbers. Now, I've sourced over 100 products to sell on Amazon over the last 6 years, and I can tell you that the lowest price I've ever paid is $2, with the average being $3 to $5. But for example's sake, let's say you find something for $2, just like we did in the example earlier with the yoga mat. Now, like I also mentioned, you remember that you're going to need to add at least another $1 per unit for freight from China and then shipping to Amazon. So now you're at $3 per unit minimum, which is right here, your total landed product cost. Let's say you get lucky on the low end and it's only $3. Now, a moderately successful product on Amazon sells about 5 to 10 units per day. So let's go with a low end of 5 units per day. Now, production in China is going to take at least 30 days, and then it takes another 30 days to get it here by ocean freight, which is how you want to ship your products. Because if not, then you're going to pay about 2 to 3 times more to ship it by air, and it's going to be really difficult to stay competitive on your pricing, which can be the kiss of death on Amazon if you're not competitive on pricing. So you're going to need at least 60 days of stock on hand. That's what we call your lead time. But you're also going to need some additional capital to restock before you run out, which means you're going to have to get another order in production at least 60 days before you run out, which means you pretty much need to do this right around the time your initial inventory hits Amazon's warehouse. Now, this is critical, and this is the mistake that is often overlooked. But if you run out of inventory, then what happens is you lose your keyword rankings, your hard-earned keyword rankings in Amazon that you work so hard to build and spend a lot of money on, which means you often have to start all over again getting it ranked, which is very costly. Now, that means that you're going to need about $1,800 in capital to get a low-end product launch without running out. Because you can see here, your initial 60 days of inventory at 5 units a day, that's 300 units. Okay, so at $3 landed cost, that's $900. And then you're going to need to set aside some capital to get another 60 days of inventory minimum. So that's another $900. So you're at $1,800. Now, speaking of keyword rankings, when you launch a product, you have to get it ranked in Amazon, like we talked earlier, for your primary keywords. Now, I won't go into specifics right now on how to do that, but that's a whole other training as well. But just know that at the very least, you're going to have to run pay-per-click ads on Amazon so customers can find and buy your product, because if not, then they're not going to know you even exist, because you're going to be buried several pages deep. And once again, like we said earlier, we all know nobody really looks past the first page of search results for anything, whether it's Google or Amazon or anywhere else. Now, typically, minimum, your pay-per-click cost that first month to get it up and running is going to be at least $500. So now you're at around, $1,805. You're at about $2,300. Now you got to throw in all of the startup costs to setting up a real business. Like, you're going to have to set up an LLC and all that stuff. There's a lot of paperwork and red tape you got to go through. Then you're also going to need, like we said earlier, to invest in a really good training course that's going to give you that competitive advantage that you're going to need and keep you from making like a huge major mistake that could really sink your business.
So you throw that in, that's going to run you altogether probably at least around $1,200, and now you're at $3,500. So now, hopefully I haven't talked you out of this business, because there is good news. Just hang in there, because here's the thing. If you're selling a product at 5 units a day, enough of the bad news, right? If you're selling a product at $5 a day, let me show you this example real quick. With a margin, let's say your profit margin is $5 per unit. That's it, right? Then that means you're going to be making $25 per day, which is this is net profits now, take home, $750 a month, or $9,000 per year. Now, that might not sound like a lot when you see some of these huge screenshots and you hear these people talking about, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month, right? Which is typically not realistic, especially right out of the gate anyway. But if you look at $9,000 per year, that's a 257% annual return on your investment of $3,500. And like I said earlier, 5 units a day is really pretty weak. Just about anybody can do that, really. So 5 to 10 is really the average, and I'd say probably 10 is the average if you really use advanced tactics and techniques to pick a good product. So let's go with 10 units. 10 sales a day with that same margin of $5 per unit is going to be $50 per day, $1,500 per month. That's $18,000 per year off of one product, and that's very realistic. And with that $3,500 investment turns into a 514% annual return on your investment. Now, let me ask you this. Where else are you going to get that kind of return on your investment? I don't know of anywhere else where you can get that, right? So, all right, let's move on to the last thing that I want to cover, which is mistake number 3.
Choosing a product that's too competitive. Now, this is the most common mistake that I see both new and even experienced sellers make, and it's absolutely essential to your success. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, like I said earlier, you could pretty much pick any product you wanted on Amazon that was selling really well. You could compete and you could make a lot of money. But that is simply not the case anymore, and unfortunately, there's still a lot of people that teach this. If you try to sell super competitive products like yoga mats, most beauty products, cell phone accessories, and a lot more like those, you will get absolutely destroyed. Now, how do I know this? Because I started selling on Amazon back in those gold rush days I was telling you about, when it was really easy. I started with a skincare brand, and my first 3 products made a combined $26,000 a month in net profits. And yes, that is net profits, take home after all costs, fees, and everything. Man, life was good. But now those categories are so saturated that there are barely any profit margins left. And getting ranked for those keywords would cost you tens of thousands of dollars if you wanted to stand any chance of competing. And those 3 products that were netting me $26,000 a month now net a combined $900 per month. But just like the yoga mat example that I gave you earlier, there's another really popular YouTube video on how to sell on Amazon that teaches selling beauty products just like the ones that I just talked about. So let's jump over to Amazon and let me show you proof of that. So for this example, I'm going to show you what selling a typical beauty product looks like on Amazon, and I'm going to use the example of vitamin C cream, because this was also one of those products that made a lot of money a few years ago when Amazon wasn't as competitive as it is now. But just like all the other high volume and highly competitive products that a lot of the outdated trainings and YouTube videos teach you to go after, this is a terrible choice, which most beauty products are now. But let's go ahead and run this one. So if we go to Amazon and we type in vitamin C cream, here's what we come up with. Now, once again, notice how many reviews that each one of these people have that are ranked in the top 10. Once again, we're not looking at the sponsored ads, we're looking here at the organic ranking. So here you have this person at $16 with a $1 off coupon, so that's really $15. They're at $9. They're at $16 with a $2 off coupon, so they're really at $14. And then this is actually a serum, it's not a cream, so we don't want to look at that. And then now this is our anomaly. This is $69, and there is no way this is ranked normally, at this price. So we want to toss this one out. And this one's a combo, vitamin C cream and serum, so that's not really applicable, and neither is this one because it's just a serum. So as we go through here, you have 7,000 reviews, 2,500 reviews.
2,200. It's just crazy. Even, 600 reviews. So, who's going to buy your product if you only have, let's say, 10 reviews when you first get started, when everybody else has, hundreds or even thousands of reviews? But once again, let's just say you were up for this challenge too. So as we go through here, we already know that the best price, the highest price you could possibly hope for here in the top 10 for this specific product is going to be this person here at $15 after the coupon. So let's click on that and let's run this. And this one's going to be an easy one because I actually sold this product years ago, and I was one of those people that made a lot of money off of it, but now there's nothing left, which I will show you here in just a second. So once again, I'm going to run the Helium 10 extension, and we're going to go to the profitability calculator. Now we're going to change this price to $15 because that's what they really are after the coupon. And I know that the manufacturing cost, my cost on this, was $11. So freight cost, they have this at 8 cents. It would really be a little bit more than that, but the reason it's so low is because beauty products you don't want to source from China for liability reasons. So shipping them from within the US is really cheap. They would actually be a little bit more than that, but let's just go with that. And as you can see down here, once again, we're at negative $1.53. So I can tell you from experience, because we sold a lot of beauty products, had a big skincare line, and this is typical of every single beauty product. So this is just one more example of how following bad advice and picking the wrong product can get you in a lot of trouble.
Now the scary thing is that this method is still being taught by a lot of Amazon gurus, experts, YouTube videos, and training courses out there, so you need to be really careful where you get your training from. Now, despite all the landmines that I just went over on how to sell on Amazon, I can honestly say that it is the most lucrative business that I have ever been involved in. I've never been able to get anywhere near the return on investment that I was able to get selling on Amazon. But you need to know how to do it right, and you need an unfair advantage over your competition. So enough of the negative, right? I've showed you all the things that could go wrong and all the things you shouldn't do. But now let me show you the right way to find products with maximum profits and very little competition.
Now for this strategy, you are going to need the paid version of Helium 10 because there's a secret tool that I use that's only available with the paid version. So if you want to pick that up, I'm going to put a link either below this video or just to the right of it that you'll be able to click on, go to Helium 10, and then if you use that link and you put in the promotion code FLA for Fastlane Academy, you'll get 50% off your first month. And if not, if you don't want to do that, then you can just follow along and at least know that this is available to you whenever you're ready. So let's jump over to Helium 10, and once you're in, you want to go up here to the top left of this icon says black box, okay? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in the parameters of what I would consider the perfect product. So you can do whatever category you want. I'm going to do sports and outdoors. And so I'm going to put that in. I want my minimum monthly sales or revenue to be $10,000 a month. Okay. And then the price, I'm going to put the price between $12 and $30 because that'll make the product a little less expensive and easier to source. Now for the review count, remember earlier when we saw all those products with thousands of reviews and I said it would be really tough to compete with them because who's going to buy your product, if you only have say 10 or 20. What we want to put here, I'm going to max it out at 50 because you can compete with anyone, with 50 reviews if you only have say 10 or 20 with no problem at all. So shipping size tier for here, I'm going to select small standard size because that way it won't cost us a lot to ship it from China to here. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here to the advanced filter for bestseller rank, which we'll talk more about that later, but I'm going to put in a max of 500 to 5,000. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to click search and I'm going to go through these results, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to source something like this that, where it has a ton of colors and a ton of sizes, and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking for something really easy and, to source and sell. And so I went through this earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and jump through to page 3. And actually, as I say that, you can look at the bottom here and you can see, there are just pages and pages of results to go through, and that's just for one category. So
Anyway, what I saw here that really caught my eye was, here we go. Here is some bass fishing lures. These are really generic. So let's go to that page. And as you can see, they have these jointed, bass fishing lures, and they're selling this 3-piece set for $20. So that seems like a really good margin. So I'm going to go back to Alibaba. Remember we did this earlier, and I'm going to put in jointed bass lure. And I'm going to, once again, kind of get an idea generally of what we can expect to pay for these. Now, that was a 3-pack. And so we're looking here, and here we go. Here are some 4-inch jointed lures that are similar. They're 15 cents a piece. Let's keep going and kind of see if that's normal or not. And so here's some bigger ones that maybe look a little bit more like what we're looking for. So and so is this. So it looks like right around, say $1.50 to $2 a piece is what we're looking at. So let's go with the $2 example, or actually these look pretty good. $1.50, that's the high end. So let's go with $1.50. So 3 of these is going to cost us $4.50. So if we go back here and we run the Helium 10 profitability calculator, and I'm going to let that load. It's going to fill in all the dimensions. It's going to fill in the price for me. And then the only thing that I'm going to change is going to be the unit manufacturing cost whenever this loads. We said that was $1.50, so $4.50 for 3 of those. So they were pretty close. Now, look at this. The net profit is $10 per unit. That is a phenomenal margin. You remember the ones we saw earlier where you had maybe 67 cents or you were losing money, maybe $1 best case? Well, $10 is a phenomenal margin. This is a great product to source. Now, if you want to get an idea of what something like this could make, what we're going to do now, so keep that in mind, $10 per unit is what these people are making. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to look at the BSR. This is where this comes in. Amazon assigns every product a BSR or bestsellers rank. Now, what you can do here is you can look at that. So this is 1,570 in sports and outdoors. So there's another free tool you can use called Jungle Scout. So if you go to junglescout.com, okay, and once that loads, what you're going to do is they have a sales estimator tool. And it's really cool because what you do is you just go here to resources and then you go to the estimator tool and then you plug in that BSR. So let's just round that up to 1,600. Okay, and that is in the United States. And then you put in the category, which was sports and outdoors. So let's find that. And then you hit calculate. And then what it does is it tells you right here, they're selling right around $2,460 a month is what they estimate that they're selling. So let's even round that down to $2,000, or I'm sorry, 2,000 units a month. And you remember the margin that we saw here of $10? That is completely insane. That's a $20,000 a month product. So this would be a fantastic one to get started with. And there's a lot of these here. Like I said, you can go through here and you can, not all of them are great. You have to run those numbers and those margins. But when you have something that huge of a $10 margin, even if it cost you a little bit more than that and you're only making, $6 or $7 a piece by the time it was all done, that's still a phenomenal monthly income off of low competition products. So this is how you want to find products to sell on Amazon. This is the right way to do it, and this will set you up for the best possible chance of success.
Now, that method that I just showed you will put you miles ahead of everyone else who follows those outdated trainings and YouTube videos to learn how to sell on Amazon. But the truth is that there's a lot more to this business than just finding a profitable product that isn't super competitive. You have to know how to check for copyrights, patents, trademarks. You got to be able to source these products effectively. You have to know how to create a great product listing, get stellar images created, get those products ranked well, selling well, and a lot more. Now, obviously for that, you're going to need to invest in an excellent training program. Now, over the last few years, I've actually spent over $10,000 buying all of the reputable Amazon training courses out there. And you might be wondering why in the world I would do something like that. But the truth is this:
Each one of them gave me something new that I implemented in my business, and it paid off in the long run. So in my opinion, they were all money well spent. Now, I think most people would probably spend $10,000 one time if they knew they were going to do over $100,000 a month in Amazon, right? Well, I don't recommend that you do this, especially if you're just starting out. I've already spent the time and money going through them all, and in my opinion, there's really one course that gives you everything you need. It's the best value, and it gives you more of those advanced strategies that I was telling you about earlier that you need to have that unfair advantage over your competition than really any other course that I've seen. Now, the creator of this course has a free training where you can learn some of those advanced strategies that you won't see anywhere else, especially on YouTube. Now, you don't have to buy the course to watch that free training, so at the very least, check that out. Even if you don't pick up the course, you'll be way ahead of most sellers. So I'm gonna leave a link down below so you can check that out. And hey, that's it for the training, guys. I really hope you liked it. Thank you for watching, and now get out there and start selling on Amazon.